Aye, aye. It's only me. I'm back again. I've already done one of these this week, but it's Friday night and the way everybody's in the house and the Waynes are watching Strictly Come Dancing, and I've been relegated to up the stairs. So I thought I would come up and do a wee live video about music because I got to hang the day with the Cult. It's the 30th anniversary of Sonic Temple, which the 30th anniversary edition come out today. So I thought I'd come on and talk about the Cult because I mean the Cult's a real mixed bag. There's some of the best rock albums that's ever been made in there, and there's some real dross and all. So we'll make our way through them, and I'll give you my opinion on what I think what's there. For anybody who doesn't know the Cult, the two main men are singer Ian Astbury, who's a kind of inspired by kind of Native American kind of things, and a lot of fire. Yes, I was singing about fire and stuff, and Billy Duffy, the guitar hero, doesn't really get mentioned much when folk are talking about good British guitar players. He's a kind of an easy riff man. He's not a Richie Blackmore kind of heavy guitar solo type. So enough of my talking, and we'll get into the. Because I don't want to end up in the woods here. Oh, there's somebody dinging us. First up, the Cult Dreamtime. This the thing about the Cult was they evolved into the Cult for a kind of post-punk kind of couple of bands, Southern Death Cult and then Death Cult before they actually became the Cult. There were albums released by the Bonds, but this is the first Cult album, Dreamtime, which kind of sticks with the kind of post-punk thing with a wee bit of late 60s psychedelia mixed in there. This is when the Cult were a four-piece at the time. A drummer called Nigel Preston and the bass player Jamie Stewart. Jamie Stewart would kick about for a while, but unfortunately Nigel Preston died of a drug overdose, I think it was, not long after this album came out. It's pretty good. A different kind of album. It's kind of maybe a kind of throwback to your late 60s psychedelia with kind of Cream and that kind of thing. Some good songs that Go West and Spirit Walker, Horse Nation, that the Cult would keep playing even until the new. But kind of it's hard to find an album that actually represents what the Cult sounds like, because they're one of the bands that constantly changes. You can tell there for that album cover that there's some kind of mysticism, kind of American mysticism, kind of Red Indians and that kind of stuff. So that was a no bad start. And then the next album was 1985, Love by the Cult. This is made of the same heavy reverby album. This might be my favourite Cult album, because the whole thing start to finish is the best. And you've got there She Sells Sanctuary, probably the Cult's most famous song. You would probably put She Sells Sanctuary in the same kind of group of songs like Whole Lot of Love and kind of like Back in Black or Smells Like Teen Spirit. Kind of, you put it on at a rock disco and everybody's going out to dance. But kind of hard to pick highlights out of that. Kind of Nirvana, Big Neon Glitter, Phoenix, Rain, kind of start to finish, it's right good stuff. I mean that's 10 out of 10 Cult there. The drums on this were played by the guy out of Big Country. I can't mind how you pronounce it. Is it Brzezeki or something like that? He came in and played the drums on it on a kind of session bassist. That'd be the start of a kind of revolving door for drummers for the Cult. They couldn't really keep hold of it. More drummers than Judas Priest or Spinal Tap, as we'll see when we're going through this. In between this, they were going to record the next album in that style with the kind of reverby guitars and kind of clean reverby guitars. No a million mile away from Johnny Marr actually. And they'd recorded the album, but then they dumped it and got American producer called Rick Rubin for Def Jam Records in, and scrapped all the recordings and re-recorded it with him using a kind of Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, dry kind of rock sound, totally different for Love, and they came out with Electric. Again, there's Ian Astbury there, got the Indian bunnet on, drummer on this one, a guy called Les Warner, who would only play on this album. They went on tour, but I mean, this, along with Crocus's One Vice at a Time, Electric by the Cult's the best album AC/DC ever made. Ken Wildflower, Love Removal Machine, Peace Dog, yeah, all the songs on there are great. The Love in Electric was a pure good 1-2, and back in the day, Ken, I'm talking 30 years ago, in the days of C90 cassettes, on one side of the cassette you had Love, and then Ken, although it cut Black Angel off at the end, and on the other side you had Electric. And that tape, when we used to go camping to Arn, back in the days of big boombox tape players, Love and Electric was one of the three tapes that I was went. It was Love and Electric by the Cult, Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin, and a Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, We Wish You Were Here on the other side. You couldn't carry any more, these things were all heavy. Ken, now you can carry MP3 players about with just about everything you've got on them. But back in the days you had to really pick what you were taking, and that was the thing, was Electric and Love went along with it. So Love kind of established them, and it started getting a kind of foothold in America. But Ian Astbury and the guy who was playing the drums, Les Warner, were kind of notorious party animals, and just as we were about to make it big, Ian Astbury trashed all their gear on stage, and again, it was alright for the Who doing it and all that kind of thing back in the 60s, but these things had to be paid for, and it caused a kind of falling out with him and the rest of the band, because they had to spend all their money that they'd made on the tour buying new gear. But they went back in a studio and recorded Sonic Temple, which is 30 year old. I still can't believe this is 30 year old. Again, I can mind when Fire Woman was in the charts, it makes you feel dead old. But when we're talking Sonic Temple, I know a lot of folk that are kind of split down the middle with Sonic Temple. Me, personally, I think it's brilliant. It's a really, really good, well-made album for the American chart. Very Led Zeppelin-y. Again, the beats, the big drum beats, and the guitar riffs, and there's a lot of kind of keyboardy Mellotron stuff in it. Again, big epic tracks, very, very Led Zeppelin. A lot of folk don't like it because they think it's, what's the word now, kind of selling out kind of thing. But Sonic Temple, if it was a fight for my favourite Cult album, it would be between Sonic Temple and Love. Because, I mean, when you look at that track list, there's nothing on there that you think, hey, that's crap. Okay, I mean, the first half of it, you've got all the big hitters, and the second half's all the album tracks that are still good. Again, you get the radio hits on there, Firewoman and Edie and Sweet Soul Sister. Okay, Sonic Temple, you can't go wrong with this. Can see if you're looking for a 1989 rock album following up in the slipstream of kind of blockbusters like Whitesnake 1987 or Hysteria by Def Leppard, Sonic Temple could have taken the world by storm. But again, Ian Astbury, they were doing the biggest gig they could have got, which is the MTV Music Awards. I think it was 1990, doing Firewoman. And if Ian Astbury had turned in a good performance, they would have been massive in America. They were kind of massive in America, but they could have went right over the top, kind of Whitesnake style. But Ian Astbury Ken, he's since talked about it, says he shot out it because he didn't want to be that big, which is fair enough. But Ken, he really blew it. I don't know. And the thing was, that was it for the guy who played the bass, Jamie Stewart. He'd had enough of it by this time and he bailed. And he was quite a big part of the Cult at that time. So you're down to Ian Astbury and Billy Duffy, who are still the main men now. But the next album out was Ceremony. And again, it's kinda like Sonic Temple, but with a bit more of an Indian influence. The problem with Ceremony is it's too long. Okay, you're getting into the CD age there. When it used to be vinyl records, folk put like 35-40 minutes of music on each side, on each album, sorry. And when you go to CD age, you could have up to like between 60 and 80 minutes, and it meant that you could stick every single song that you wrote on, whether they were good or not. And it used to be you would just use the best stuff you had, fling the rest away or keep it for B-sides or whatever. I mean, the song Ceremony and Wild Hearted Son, Earth Mofo, White Ken, it's a good start, but once you start getting into like the second half of it, it does drag a bit with your Bangkok Rain and Indian Woman and Ken Sweet Salvation. Ken, it can be a bit tiresome. Ceremony again, it was a big hit. I think it was like 91, 92 that came out. But it was just after the three that came before it was a bit of a step down. Next up, they brought out this compilation album called Pure Cult, and this is the best place to start if you don't know anything about the Cult. That's all the greatest hits for early days. Got a good song on it called The Witch, but I don't know what it had. See, the version we had years ago, it's got a cracking big kind of drum outro and a kind of a weird kind of ride out with a big kind of feedback guitar solo, but it's no in this one. The song's still good, but it's just not as good without the extended bit at the end. You can see there Ian Astbury, Billy Duffy. That's the Cult as it is now. So, and then that actually came with the first press of it, came with this limited live album for the Marquee, which I can't even remember who plays on it. It might be Michael Lee playing the drums. Can I tell you who played the bass? But anywho, if you can track that down, that's quite a good wee live album, quite raw, but still pretty good. This is where the shit starts hitting the fan. 1995, the world's dominated by grunge rock, and a lot of the older bands had two choices. They either stuck to their guns and kind of go through it, like AC/DC kind of managed that. A lot of them kind of disappeared right enough. Or you had other ones that tried to change their sound and just kind of killed themselves, like Motley Crue and Queensryche and stuff. The Cult went down the second road and tried to change along with the times. Although to be fair, the Cult they was kind of changed their sounds. I mean, it wasn't totally ridiculous. But this album's just called The Cult. Pretty sure it was still produced by Bob Rock. Who played on this again? I think the drummer was Scott Garrett and Craig Adams, maybe the bald guy playing the bass. I went to see them on that tour and it just wasn't the same thing. I went to see them at the Barrowlands. Ian Astbury with the short hair and that, Ken, them always short hair. And the songs... Coming Down, Drug Tongue's pretty good. I'm trying. Gone's pretty good. But I mean, it's a real mixed bag once again. The production's really dry. And there's not really any of the hallmarks of the kind of stadium rock Cult for 5-6 year before with Sonic Temple. That was all away. Again, this is really dry stuff. And things being what they are, the folk that were into grunge, they didn't care about the folk that folk were listening to kind of 5 year before. I'm just going to take a drink of tea. they didn't care about like the folk from 5 years ago, so they were listening to their new band, so the cult kind of disappeared, and that was aimed by for the time being. Ian Astbury had a kind of solo career. I can't remember what Billy Duffy done. I think he maybe had a different bond on the go with somebody else. But in 2000 they brought out a box set called Rare Cult, which was a exhaustive 6-disc tome stuff that had been left out for all the recording sessions, demos and all that kind of stuff. Too much for me. I did, back in the Wild West days of the internet, I managed to get it off a torrent site, but they brought out this, which was the best of Rare Cult, which is a single disc of the stuff kind of cut down, kind of maybe a bit more kind of ear friendly, kind of it's just all kind of stuff that was left off the albums that they did before. Some of it's alright, but I mean it's not going to threaten the kind of big album. But Ken, that was 2000, kind of resurgence interest in the cult after that. And you know what happens when that happens? There's a reformation of the band, and this time when they came back, Matt Sorum, that played with Guns N' Roses, was actually the cult's touring drummer for the Sonic Temple tour, and they got him back, but because he'd been in Guns N' Roses this time, he got equal billing as like a kind of three, kind of, it wasn't just Ian Astbury and Billy Duffy anymore. I think they thought he had some kind of name value, so he was in, and they did this album Beyond Good and Evil, which, Ken, when you go back in retrospect, I remember when this came out and you were thinking, this is great, Ken, but it's no up to Sonic Temple levels or Love levels. But Ken, when you live with these things for 20 years now, Ken, this came out in 2001, it's actually just about, Ken, if that's Sonic Temple there, then Beyond Good and Evil's just underneath it. Ken, there's some really good songs on this. Again, dead long album. Ken, what's that? 12 songs. Ken, a lot of songs, but no ridiculously all the time. It runs maybe for about 55 minutes, so it's no, it doesn't do your box right in. But Ken, things like Rise and Take the Power, Speed of Light, mind that one, Black California. I remember, I haven't heard some of these albums for years. Beyond Good and Evil was a good comeback. Went on tour with a guy called Billy Morrison playing the bass, who's something to do with Jim Morrison or something, or so he says. And then they got a guy called Chris Wise in to play the bass. Matt Sorum buggered off. I think he went to play with Velvet Revolver actually, with Slash and Scott Weiland and stuff. So they got a guy in called John Tempesta. He was a right good drummer. Good drummer for the cult, good big beater. They made this album, I think this was 2007, Barnmented this. I think this was the first ever cult album I got that it didn't really do that much for me, Ken. There's no really that many songs I can actually remember much about here. I haven't heard this man for a long time. I can remember Dirty Little Rockstar. That's probably the kind of big hit after the album. But the rest of them, even the titles, they don't say anything or do anything for me. Again, this is the point. I think with Ian Astbury gone and trying to do a solo career and kind of it not gone anywhere, and same with Billy Duffy, it was that way I think they realised that we need to be together and be the cult, or we're going to be playing, Ken, if you want to play on a big stage, you need to be the cult. And that's a dangerous point for bands to get to, is where it's a job. Ken, they're churning music out as a job. It's no juice coming out of them, Ken. They've not got anything to say. They're just making music as a job. Therefore, you end up with stuff that, Ken, it's not been inspired in any way. It's just been created for to get something out there, so you can do a tour and it no look like you're just playing the same old stuff. Again, Choice of Weapon, I think this was 2011. I can mind listening to this a lot when it came out, and Ken, this is the same as Barnmented this. At the time, I remember at the time somebody asked Ian Astbury, are you going to make another album? And he was like, Ken, there's no point in us making albums. Ken, nobody's interested. The album's a deed format. Ken, that's a guy basically telling you that he's past it. Pardon me, but the album came out. It's hard to remember that much about this. I remember Honey for My Knife. That's the one that goes, we got the drugs, we got the drugs, we got the drugs. In here, or whatever it was, the chorus. Quite a good chorus in that one. Good for young people. Ken, once you get past 30 odds, Ken, there's no point. There's nothing good about drugs. It was just a good line in a song. I do remember the one about the horse, because you listen to all these songs and then they start singing about horse. For the Animals, quite a good track too. Ken, I'd put this one above Beyond Good and Evil, but it doesn't hold a candle to the classic Cult. Again, the Cult Hidden City, this was a couple of years ago, 2016, 2017. Listen to this a lot in the car as well, but geez some good grooves, no many memorable songs, although I do remember the grooves being good. I don't know what to say about that. Ken, I had it in the stereo in the car, and I listened to it, and then when it came out, there wasn't anything, Ken, that stuck in your head where you thought, oh, Ken, I could listen to that Cult. I can't remember anything about it, really. And I remember folks saying, oh, this is a real return to form, and I was like, what, really? But, Ken, each to their own, I suppose. A couple of things I should mention before I go. They brought this box set out, which, if you're a collector, this is well worth getting. This is the Love box set. I think this was actually 2015, the 30th anniversary of Love. This is well worth having, especially there are a bunch of stuff in this that was on your own rare Cult box set. That's just like a kind of mini album version of the album. Great, can remember looking at the gatefold sleeve, as you used to do when you was younger, when it was actually a record. I think that's all like demos and B-sides. Same again with that. And then there's a live concert there for the Love tour. So if you can get hold of it, you can pick that up pretty cheap. That's well worth getting. Do you like that one? And then the day this come out, Sonic Temple 30th anniversary, which I haven't even opened yet. So I don't know, I'll maybe just open that now and see what's in that. Yeah. Then try to open it with one hand. Trying not to rip the sticker, because I'm a pure dick. I like to keep things like that, the sticker. What's in here now? Alright, nice wee house. See, there we go. That's what you want. Plenty of reading there, take this in a shitter. Oh, nice wee sleeves. See, that's like probably a new remaster of Sonic Temple. And then you've got like all these pictures with the single covers here. Pretty good. So that's different mixes of stuff on the Satan disc. I don't know where Jamie Stewart is here. Jamie Stewart was still on the bonnet that time. But they've got him the hell out of there. That third disc's demos. Sonic Temple demos, aye. And then, what's the last disc? Oh, Live at Wembley 1989. I've already got that, but I'm actually I think I've got it in a kind of bootleg that I got off one of these torrent sites, but I'm looking forward to having a nice clean copy of that. So that'll be getting listened to presently as soon as I'm finished doing this here unit. So I'll have a wee recap talking about what you get, what you get. Dreamtime, no bad, good place to start, I suppose, if you're going to get right into it. Love, definitely. Classic rock at its best, with a kind of twist. Electric, same again. If you like your AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, dinna be feared to get that, because it'll ring your bell. Sonic Temple, blockbuster album for 30 years ago. Jesus Christ. Ceremony, if only for Wild Hearted Son, because Wild Hearted Son, one of my favourite cult songs. But once you get past here, Ken, pure cult, best place to start. All the hits are there. Ken, if you buy that, Ken, you probably be able to pick that up for a couple of pounds, say Tono on Amazon. If you don't like that, go no further. That's a nice wee live one, but it's no essential. The Cult, if you want to hear a band to try to do post-grunge, that's where to go. Best of rare Cult, no essential. Beyond Good and Evil, aye, definitely. I would even go as far as to say probably in the top 50 albums that's been made since 2000, Beyond Good and Evil. Again, pretty good. Born Into This, no. Choice of Weapon, better than Beyond Good, better than Born Into This, but no essential, and the same goes for Hidden City. But anyway, that's me. I'm all done talking about the Cult. I'm going to go now and going to put that Sonic Temple box in and see what it sounds like. It should be pretty good. If you was sitting listening, thanks very much, and enjoy the Cult, because it's pretty good, Ken, for folk that like folk singing about wolf childs or fire or whatever. So I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you later. Bye.